Hello, Dawn Moore at Allegiance Title Company. This week's video, I want to address the answers to the question of how does a survey impact title and why is a survey important to get? Bear with me as I refer to my notes, as this is a fairly detailed video. A survey should reveal the specific locations of all easements located on the property, as well as show any encroachments or protrusions of the improvements on the property. When I refer to encroachments, I'm referring to encroachments of either my improvements over an easement on my property or my improvements encroaching on the neighbor's property. When I use the words protrusion, I'm referring to my improvements that protrude over the neighbor's property. When a survey reveals an encroachment of my property over an easement on my property, I must understand that the easement owner has a right to use the easement for the easement purposes. And if my improvements are located over the easement in such a way that it prohibits the easement owner from using the easement as intended or maintaining the easement as intended, the easement owner may remove my improvements. Generally, what we see are fences over utility easements. The easement owner does not generally make the owner move the fence unless the fence inhibits his access to maintenance of the easement. The encroachment will be noted on the title policy because the easement holder has the first right to use the property over which the easement extends. When a survey reveals an encroachment of a neighbor's improvements over my property, again there will be an exception to this encroachment on the title policy. The effect of this type of encroachment is potential loss of title over the land over which the encroachment extends. A right to this land can be created by what we call adverse possession. Adverse possession means that the neighbor has possessed the property open and hostile, that means adversely to my use of the property, for a certain number of years. This statute of limitations, or period of time for which they have to occupy the property, varies. It depends on the circumstances of the possession. If the neighbor has colorable title to the land which he possesses, then he may be able to acquire adverse possession to this land over a shorter period of time. If the neighbor has been paying taxes on this land which he possesses open and hostile to my use, then he may be able to acquire it under a lesser period of time. But without those two elements, generally we recognize adverse possession when a neighbor has possessed property open and hostile to the owner's wishes for a period of at least 25 years. Now, it is important to note that that 25-year period runs with the land, not with the ownership, meaning that property can change hands many times during that 25 years. But if those improvements possess that property open and hostile to the owner's wishes for a period of 25 years, then adverse possession can be obtained. Again, most often we see issues of possible adverse possession claims when a neighbor's fence encloses a portion of our property. If the encroachment is more than 6 inches, it might be prudent to get an agreement with the neighbor that he does not intend to acquire the land by adverse possession, that he waives any adverse possession rights, and depending on how long that fence has been there, he actually deeds back any property he may have acquired by adverse possession. Note there is case law in Dallas County that says if a fence is off 6 inches, that is not intended to create a new boundary line by adverse possession. So if the fence is off less than 6 inches, there's no need to be concerned about this issue. But fences off property lines are common exceptions to title. Another common exception to title is overhead service lines. Oftentimes, the electric power to the house is connected from a power pole in the alley to the home. Without an easement, this electric line then is over the airspace of my property. My real property rights that I own when I acquire fee simple title include the airspace over my land. That line is an encroachment over my airspace. The alternative, however, is to either pay the electric company to put the lines underground and create an easement for that, or disconnect and go without power. As noted, I said in my introduction, a survey should show all encroachments and protrusions that affect the use and title to the property. However, if a survey is defective, can a buyer be protected from any possible claims of adverse possession that he didn't know existed prior to closing? I will save that answer for next week's video, so stay tuned. This is Dawn Moore at Allegiance Title, wishing you the best in this market. Go out and get those sales and let Allegiance Title be your resource for results. Thank you.